Happy Dot Day, everybody. So today is either September 15th or it is September 15th-ish, and we are celebrating International Dot Day. Today you're going to be making a digital dot. This is going to serve us for two purposes. One, we're going to collaborate with a lot of other students in the school here and throughout the district and make our own Dot Day project. But it will also give you a little bit of experience working in Pixlr. Now we're not always going to work like this in Pixlr because we're going to be generating something from scratch, but it will still give you some good practice using some different tools and to kind of think about how you can make digital artwork. So I already have Pixlr's home page up, so I'm going to go ahead and scroll down to launch my web app. From here I'm going to create a new image, and I'm going to call this one Dot Day. Now you don't have to capitalize if you don't want. It is completely up to you. Now we want to make our project square. So you would either need to change this to 800 by 800 or 600 by 600. I'm going to go ahead and just make mine 600 by 600. If you want to do the same, that is great. And click on that transparent box. Now from here you can see that I've got my Dot Day file name up here. I've got my 600 by 600 pixels down here. And I've got my toolbar over here. Now really what you do today is completely up to you. However, I want the dot to be your source of inspiration. So you want to kind of make a mark and see where it gets you or leads you. Now if you use your marquee tool, one little trick is that you can use a circle to kind of highlight or define a certain area within your piece. So if we can see that kind of thin line there, it's a dashed line. It looks a little bit more dashed when the lines are straight. We call that marching ants. Okay, so if you can picture those ants, they're marching along, ant by ant. The area that I now have selected is inside of that circle. So I could take my paintbrush tool and I could start to paint in there. I could take my bucket tool and dump paint in there. I can do a lot of different things. I could use my gradient tool by changing the colors. There's so many different things that I could do. So let's say I want to go ahead and do something fun here and fill that in with a gradient. Okay. Now with those marching ants on there, I can only work inside of that circle. If I try to paint out here, nothing happens. If I try to paint in here, something happens. Okay? So if I want to get rid of that so that I can do something else, let's say I want to do something in the background. So I want to do something in the space that is opposite of what I have selected right now. I'll go up to Edit and invert my selection. You'll see that I still have the marching ants along the circle, but they are also along the outside. So I now have my background selected. Now this is an easy way to change the background without really having to do anything to your artwork. Okay. Now let's get rid of all of that by going up to Edit and deselect all. Now from here I can paint on top, I can add filters, I can do all sorts of different things. I could draw, I could play around with some of these different tools to kind of see what happens within my dot. One other handy little thing to kind of keep track of is when you're working with a lot of these different tools, there are some different things that you can change up here at the top. With my brush tool, I can change my brush size, I can change my brush shape, I can change my brush hardness. I can go through and look for more brushes, and add more things as options to what I'm using here if I would like to. So as you are decorating your dot, it is completely up to you what you want to do. When you have something that you like, that you want to save, you're going to go ahead and go up to File and Save. Save that dot as a JPEG, but you're going to slide this quality all the way up to 100. Now when you click OK, it's going to ask you if you want to save it in your drive, and that is where you want to go ahead and save. Now let's say I continue to add to my project, and make something that is just amazing. Now I can either start over, completely from scratch, or edit what I've got. But let's say I make something else that I'm pretty much, happy with and want to save it. So if I go to save again, I can hit .day and add a 2, keep that format as a JPEG, slide that on up to 100, and save another copy. So I'll have my original .day copy, and I'll have then my .day number 2. Now I could continue to do this, forever and ever, and I could make an unlimited amount of dots. I would encourage you to do that, to just kind of play around with the different things. Don't forget about, your undo button. It is, your friend if you do something that you end up not liking. But this is a good opportunity to just kind of learn what Pixlr has so that you can become more familiar with it while just making something more for fun. So like I said earlier, happy Dot Day!